When people think of Cannes fashion, they usually picture breathtaking couture gowns, old Hollywood glamour, and some of the most beautiful red carpet moments ever photographed. But let's be honest, not every Cannes look becomes a fashion masterpiece. Over the years, the festival has also given us outfits that left critics confused, sparked endless online debates, and sometimes made headlines for all the wrong reasons. So today, I'm counting down the 10 worst Cannes Film Festival looks of all time. The outfits that generated controversy, divided fashion fans, and proved that even the biggest stars don't always get it right on the red carpet. Sandra Bullock, 2002. Sandra Bullock is usually someone I associate with classic, effortless red carpet glamour, which is exactly why this Cannes look feels so surprising to me. Attending the premiere of Murder by Numbers in 2002, she stepped onto the red carpet in a gown that seemed to be trying several different ideas all at once. The dress embraced a very feminine, bohemian-inspired aesthetic. Made from floral printed chiffon, it featured cascading ruffles, layers of frills, and plenty of texture throughout the silhouette. While I can see what the designer was aiming for, the overall result feels a little too busy for such a major red carpet moment. What immediately stands out to me is that there isn't really a clear focal point. Between the floral print, the ruffled construction, and all the extra detailing, my eye keeps jumping from one element to another instead of settling on a single standout feature. Then there are the black mesh illusion panels across the front bodice and back. For me, those details feel completely disconnected from the romantic, floaty nature of the rest of the gown. It's almost as if two different dress concepts were merged together, and the final result never fully came together. The styling itself was actually quite fitting for the look. Sandra wore her hair in relaxed, voluminous waves instead of a structured updo, which complemented the soft, bohemian vibe of the dress. Her bronzed complexion, smoky eyes, and glossy neutral lip also reflected the beauty trends of the early 2000s perfectly. Walking the Cannes steps alongside Ryan Gosling, Sandra certainly made an impression. But when I look back at this appearance today, I don't see a terrible dress. I see a dress with too many competing ideas. Eva Green, 2007. Eva Green has never been the kind of celebrity who plays it safe on the red carpet, and honestly, that's usually what makes her style so interesting. But this particular Cannes appearance is one of those looks where I can completely understand why people are still debating it years later. Worn to the Golden Compass party during the 2007 Cannes Film Festival, this John Galliano for Christian Dior haute couture gown was inspired by Madame Butterfly and leaned heavily into a theatrical, Asian-inspired aesthetic. And while I can appreciate the artistry behind it, as a red carpet look, it feels incredibly overwhelming. The first thing that hits me is the color palette. Bright red, crisp white, and deep forest green are all strong colors individually, but together they create a combination that feels more festive than glamorous. Instead of blending harmoniously, the shades seem to compete with one another for attention. Then there are the embroidered frog and floral motifs scattered throughout the gown. Fashion lovers may appreciate the craftsmanship, but personally, I think the prints add another layer of visual chaos to an outfit that was already making a very loud statement. The silhouette doesn't exactly calm things down either. The dramatic wrap neckline, oversized obi-style sash, structured sleeves, and heavy asymmetric draping all demand attention at the same time. Her pale complexion, blood-red lipstick, and sharply lined eyes perfectly complemented the dramatic mood of the gown. The polished updo was also a smart choice because anything softer would have completely disappeared against the scale of the outfit. Irina Shayk, 2023. One thing I usually expect at Cannes is glamour, elegance, and at least some connection to traditional red carpet dressing. So when Irina Shayk arrived at the Firebrand premiere in 2023, I remember thinking that this looked less like a Cannes gown and more like something straight off a provocative fashion runway. Instead of wearing a classic evening dress, she chose a leather two-piece from Moalola's Autumn-Winter 2023 collection. The top consisted of barely there crisscross Bordeaux red leather strips that left most of her torso exposed, while the matching ultra-low-rise maxi skirt sat dramatically low on the hips before extending into a floor-length mermaid silhouette. I completely understand the intention behind the look. Arena specifically chose the design to spotlight rising designer Moalola Ogunlesi and support independent female talent. And from a fashion industry perspective, I can appreciate that. But when I look at it as a Cannes red carpet outfit, it just feels completely disconnected from the occasion. What doesn't work for me is the balance. The outfit is so minimal and revealing that it almost feels unfinished, especially compared to the dramatic couture gowns surrounding it on the carpet that evening. The exposed midriff, bandage-style top, and visible zipper detailing pushed the look much closer to edgy streetwear than festival glamour. Ironically, the most elegant element of the entire appearance was the jewelry. The spectacular Masika Akbaka necklace, centered around a breathtaking 33-carat diamond, brought the kind of luxury and sophistication I normally associate with Cannes. In many ways, the necklace ended up doing most of the heavy lifting. The beauty styling followed the same minimalist philosophy. Her pin-straight, center-parted hair, fresh dewy skin, light brown lip, and barely there eye makeup kept the focus entirely on the outfit and the diamonds. Didi Stone 2022. I always appreciate when someone takes a fashion risk at Cannes because some of the festival's most memorable looks have come from bold choices. But for me, this Roberto Cavalli couture creation crossed the line from dramatic into distracting. At the 2022 Cannes Film Festival, Didi Stone arrived in a custom gown that immediately grabbed attention. The lower half was actually quite elegant, a fluid champagne-colored satin mermaid skirt that moved beautifully and delivered the kind of glamour you would expect from Cannes. The problem, at least for me, starts with the bodice. Instead of a traditional couture top, the dress featured a highly structured gold harness design, made from metallic straps stretching from her neck all the way to her hips. The dramatic cutouts left very little visual balance between the top and bottom halves of the outfit. What makes the look even more overwhelming is the amount of detailing packed into the harness itself. The gold laminated brass roses and crocodile scale elements showcased impressive craftsmanship, but there was so much happening that the eye barely knew where to focus. In a fashion editorial or museum exhibition, I could absolutely see this piece being appreciated as wearable art. On the Cannes red carpet, however, it felt more like a costume concept than a cohesive evening look. I can admire the creativity, the craftsmanship, and the ambition behind it. But when I think about the most successful Cannes fashion moments, they usually balance artistry with elegance. For me, this outfit leans so heavily into the artistic side that it lost some of the timeless glamour that makes Cannes fashion so special. Kristen Stewart, 2018. Now, this one is a little different because when people talk about this Cannes appearance, they're usually talking about the protest rather than the outfit itself. And while I completely understand why the barefoot moment became such an important piece of Cannes history, the dress itself has never been one of my favorite Kristen Stewart red carpet looks. For the premiere of BlacKkKlansman, she wore a custom-modified Chanel haute couture design that originally appeared as a floor-length gown before being shortened into a mid-thigh mini dress. The result was intentionally edgy, rebellious, and very much in line with Kristen's personal style. The problem for me is that the dress feels incredibly heavy visually. Between the structured shoulders, long sleeves, high neckline, metallic tweed base, and layers of silver crystals, mirror-like beads, and metallic thread, the outfit almost resembles futuristic armor more than a glamorous Cannes look. I can appreciate the craftsmanship because there is no denying the amount of detail involved. Every flash of a camera bounced off the metallic surface, making the dress impossible to ignore. But at the same time, all that texture and structure created a silhouette that felt quite rigid and harsh. The beauty look was probably the strongest element for me. The metallic, smoky cat eye, silver accents, matte skin, and nude lips tied everything together without competing with the outfit. Of course, what transformed this appearance into fashion history was what happened next. As rain hit the Palais de Festival steps, Kristen famously removed her black Christian Louboutin stilettos and walked barefoot up the staircase in front of photographers, challenging Cannes' long-discussed expectation that women wear high heels. And honestly, that's why this look remains so memorable. People don't remember it because it was the most beautiful outfit at the festival. They remember it because it became a statement. Bella Hadid, 2016. I know this might be one of the most controversial picks on the list because a lot of people consider this one of the greatest Cannes looks ever. And to be fair, I completely understand why. It was bold, unforgettable, and instantly became fashion history. But if I'm judging it purely as a red carpet outfit, I can also see why some critics viewed it as crossing the line from glamorous into attention-grabbing. For the premiere of The Unknown Girl, Bella Hadid wore a custom Alexandre Vauthier Couture gown in a striking crimson-red silk satin. The color was absolutely stunning, and there's no denying that she commanded attention the second she stepped onto the carpet. What made the dress so talked about was its extremely daring construction. Between the plunging halter neckline, completely open back, and leg slit that extended dramatically up the side of the gown, the design revealed almost as much as it concealed. Every angle seemed engineered to create maximum impact. Personally, this is where the look becomes divisive. While I appreciate confidence and risk-taking in fashion, the slit was so high that it often distracted from the actual craftsmanship of the gown. Instead of people discussing the tailoring, fabric, or design details, much of the conversation centered on how revealing the dress was. Interestingly, the dress was actually more carefully constructed than many people realized. A matching silk bodysuit was built into the gown to help prevent wardrobe mishaps while walking the famous Cannes staircase. The styling itself was very effective. The sleek high bun kept the focus on the neckline and open back, while the smoky eye added drama without competing with the dress. The de Grisogono diamond jewelry also brought a level of luxury that elevated the overall appearance. Isole Ongunet, 2023. I can absolutely appreciate what this look was trying to achieve. The message behind it, the celebration of size inclusivity, and the commitment to avant-garde fashion are all things I respect. But when I look at it purely from a red carpet perspective, this is one of those Cannes outfits where the concept ended up overshadowing the actual elegance. Worn to the premiere of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, the Alexander McQueen gown was designed to resemble a giant blooming red rose. Crafted entirely from vibrant crimson silk taffeta, the dress featured a fitted bodice that suddenly exploded into an enormous sculptural skirt made from layers upon layers of cascading ruffles. And honestly, that's where my issue begins. The craftsmanship is undeniable, but the volume becomes so overwhelming that the person wearing the dress almost disappears inside it. Instead of noticing Isole first, my eye immediately goes to the massive structure surrounding her. The rose inspiration is certainly clear. Every ruffle was carefully arranged to mimic swirling flower petals, and from an artistic standpoint, it's incredibly impressive. But as a Cannes red carpet look, it feels more like a moving art installation than a gown. The black leather belt was clearly intended to create contrast and define the waistline, but for me, it almost made the outfit feel even more fragmented. The sharp black element cuts through the romantic floral concept rather abruptly. Then there are the hidden Alexander McQueen biker boots underneath the skirt. I actually understand the rebellious spirit behind that choice, but paired with such a dramatic couture silhouette, it adds yet another competing idea to an already very busy look. Frédéric Bell, 2023. Now this is one of those Cannes looks where I completely understand why it generated so many headlines. The second Frédéric Bell stepped onto the red carpet, people weren't discussing the film festival anymore. They were discussing the dress. Worn during the 2023 Cannes Film Festival, this gold and silver illusion gown was designed to push boundaries. Constructed from an ultra-fine skin tone mesh, the dress created a dramatic second skin effect that relied heavily on strategically placed metallic embroidery rather than traditional fabric coverage. And honestly, that's where this look loses me. While I can appreciate the craftsmanship involved, the conversation immediately becomes about how revealing the gown is, rather than about the design itself. For me, the shock factor ends up overshadowing everything else. The silver and gold embellishments were undoubtedly intricate. Sequins, crystals, and metallic threadwork were carefully arranged to contour her silhouette, creating the illusion of a dress while leaving large sections of the back and hips exposed. Technically, it's impressive. Visually, though, it feels more focused on creating headlines than timeless elegance. What makes the look even more challenging is that there isn't much visual contrast. Because the mesh closely matched her skin tone, the metallic embroidery had to do all the work. As a result, the outfit often appeared more like body decoration than a fully realized couture gown. The styling stayed within the same glamorous theme. I will say that the beauty look was very well executed. The sleek, wet look bun, smoky eye, and glossy nude lip gave the appearance a polished finish and ensured attention remained on the dramatic silhouette. Elena Lenina. And honestly, if there is one person who practically built a permanent residence on Cannes' worst dressed lists, it has to be Elena Lenina. While most celebrities hope to create a beautiful red carpet moment, Elena seemed determined to create the most unforgettable spectacle possible, and not always for the right reasons. Over the years, she became almost as famous for her outrageous hairstyles as for the festival itself. In fact, whenever fashion critics discuss the wildest Cannes appearances of all time, her name inevitably enters the conversation. And after looking at some of these looks, it's not hard to understand why. Let's start with what many people consider her ultimate fashion disaster, the infamous arch of golden braids from 2021. The black sequined gown underneath was actually fairly simple and elegant. The problem was the gigantic braided halo structure sitting on top of her head. Constructed from thick golden braids looping high above her hair, it was so enormous that critics joked it could block the view of people sitting behind her. Instead of talking about the dress, everyone was talking about the hairstyle. Then came the 2014 giant pearl necklace look, which somehow managed to be even more chaotic. Wearing a bright metallic fuchsia satin gown with dramatic sleeves and an unstructured train, Elena paired it with a towering cone-shaped hairstyle that stretched high into the air. But the detail that truly pushed the outfit into worst-dressed territory was the oversized necklace, made of massive white spheres. To many viewers, it looked less like jewelry and more like Christmas ornaments hanging around her neck. What fascinates me about Elena Lenina is that these outfits were never accidental. Every look was intentionally designed to grab attention, create headlines, and get people talking. And to be fair, they absolutely succeeded at that. Looking back at these outfits, one thing becomes very clear. Sometimes the most memorable Cannes looks aren't the most beautiful ones. And to be fair, fashion is subjective. A look that lands on a worst-dressed list for one person might be considered a masterpiece by someone else. That's part of what makes red carpet fashion so interesting in the first place. Now, I want to hear your opinion. Which look on this list do you think deserved the #1 spot? And is there a Cannes outfit that wasn't included here but should have made the countdown? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more celebrity fashion rankings, red carpet history, and iconic style breakdowns.